The year I turned 18. My dad came home with my nemesis and a paternity test. Suddenly, live comments started scrolling across my vision. The female lead isn't the sole Wilson family heiress anymore. Let the show begin. Time to savor this rich family soap opera. I flew into a rage, slamming my hands on the table and shooting to my feet. You shameless bastard. How dare you waltz in here? My dad clamped a hand over my mouth and scolded me. Don't be ridiculous. Ethan is your mother's and my biological son. Ethan and I were born on the exact same day. If he was my mom and dad's kid, then who was I? The SATs were finally over. I walked out of the testing center, bursting with confidence, searching for my nemesis, Ethan. The test felt pretty smooth. I wasn't sure about getting the top score in the city, but I was pretty damn sure I'd beaten Ethan. I had to go rub it in his face. The students pouring out of the exam hall were like a stampede, swarming toward the gates. But finding Ethan was easy. I just had to look for the tallest guy in the crowd. After all, Ethan is 6 feet 3 inches. I scanned the crowd and, sure enough, locked onto him instantly. He looked a little strange today, dressed in a sharp suit with his hair styled. Kinda hot, actually. The fresh-cut roses in his arms were still dewy. Oh. This guy was definitely about to confess his feelings to someone. I started calculating the odds of Ethan getting rejected. Rich kid, top student, campus heartthrob, basketball captain with a six-pack. Not to mention a pile of first-place awards from various competitions. With all those buffs, the chances of Ethan failing were lower than the sun rising in the west tomorrow. Was this guy really about to win at school and in love? Not on my watch. I hid behind a group of people, snapped a quick picture, and sent it to Ethan's mom. Mrs. Smith, I'm reporting Ethan for dating. She replied almost instantly. Ella, isn't he confessing to you? Are you rejecting him and reporting him at the same time? Huh? To me? Confessing? For a second, I felt like I'd been hit by Pikachu's 10,000-volt thunderbolt, zapped until I was crispy on the outside and mush on the inside. No, wait, I'm not a French fry. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside. Wait. Is that the point? The point is, I saw Ethan as my arch rival, and he was trying to get with me. I don't care if he's the campus heartthrob. No way. For the first time, I thought being 5 feet 3 inches was actually pretty great. Perfect for slipping away unnoticed. I blended in with the crowd and snuck all the way home. The first thing you should do after the SATs is catch up on sleep. Dating is such a waste of time. I was half asleep when I felt a pair of strong arms wrap around me. Too tired to care, I just found a comfortable position and kept sleeping. Something tickled my face, and I swatted at it in my dream. I thought I heard someone say, Okay, no more kisses. I don't know how long I slept, but eventually, my eyelids decided to open. The first thing I saw was a pair of gorgeous eyes smiling down at me. Was this some kind of fox spirit? I reached up and touched his face. He was really good looking. Slowly, my consciousness came back online. Wait a minute. I finally realized that scumbag Ethan had climbed the wall and snuck into my room again. I kicked him right off the bed. Caught off guard, Ethan hit the floor with a loud thump. The floor definitely shook. Trying to murder your future husband? Ethan grumbled, rubbing his butt as he got up. Before I could argue, a bouquet of roses was shoved into my arms. Happy graduation, my little wifey, Ethan said. I shoved them back. Not accepted, thank you. He shoved them back at me again. You promised to marry me when we were kids. I pushed the flowers back one more time. Childhood promises don't count. Ethan retorted, a gentleman's word is his bond. Me, well, I'm no gentleman. Ethan, you. Me, you what? After 300 rounds, Ethan left, looking completely heartbroken. He left me with one last line. "Ella, I'll be back." I knew Ethan would be back. I just never imagined it would be like this. My dad was the one who brought him in. At first, I thought Ethan had given up on arguing with me and was trying a new tactic. But my dad's expression was all wrong, and Ethan's was even worse. It felt like the whole world was about to explode. My dad's hands trembled as he held out a paternity test. The subjects listed were my dad and Ethan. The conclusion read, based on the available data and DNA analysis, the results support that Mr. David Wilson is the biological father of Ethan Smith. What? The situation was so ridiculously dramatic that it actually summoned live comments into my vision. Floating text appeared before my eyes. The female lead isn't the sole Wilson family heiress anymore. Let the show begin. Time to savor this rich family soap opera. I was expecting drama, but not this much drama. Ethan and I were born on the exact same day. That would mean that shortly after being with my mom, my dad cheated on her with Ethan's mom. He might have even come home from his affair and then conceived me with my mom. In an instant, my world came crashing down. No wonder I'd always felt like Ethan and I were destined to clash. Well, if that was the case, he couldn't blame me for being ruthless. I flew into a rage, slamming my hands on the table and shooting to my feet. "You shameless bastard! How dare you waltz in here?" Ethan looked at me, his eyes filled with sorrow. What was he so sad about? Weren't my mom and I the biggest victims here? I opened my mouth, ready to lay into the real culprit, my old geezer of a dad. But he clamped a hand over my mouth and scolded me. "Don't be ridiculous. Ethan is your mother's and my biological son." Excuse me, but Ethan and I were born on the same day. If Ethan was my mom and dad's kid, then who was I? My mind raced. My dad is 6 feet 3 inches, and my mom is 5 feet 9 inches. And I'm 5 feet 3 inches. Ever since I was little, everyone said I didn't look like my mom or my dad. The live comments added insult to injury. The female lead is so adorable. Why is her mind stuck on him being an illegitimate son? Has she not even considered they were switched at birth? At this point, there was only one possible truth. A classic switched at birth story had come to life. Ethan and I had been swapped. I wasn't my mother's biological daughter. For a total mama's girl like me, this was a devastating blow. What's more, my mom and Ethan's mom had completely different parenting philosophies. Just think about Mrs. Smith's strict, elite approach. Ethan and his 2 younger brothers had been shuffled between school and tutoring centers their whole lives. My mom, on the other hand, had one rule: as long as my daughter's happy. This was even worse. I couldn't believe this soap opera was my life. Oh, the heavens! The earth! The cruel hand of fate! I ran over and threw my arms around my mom, sobbing. "Mommy, even if I'm not your real daughter, I really, really love you. I don't want to leave you. Mommy, please don't kick me out. Don't send me to Mrs. Smith." I cried with all the sincerity I could muster. But instead of earning my mom's sympathy, I got a sharp slap on the back of the head. I froze, stunned. Had her love for me vanished that quickly? I started wailing even louder. My mom sighed, exasperated. "I told you to read fewer of those crazy web novels, but you never listen. The second something happens, your imagination runs wild. Your first priority right now should be deleting that novel app from your phone." No way. I still had so many good stories to finish. I looked at her with puppy dog eyes. My mom couldn't help but laugh. It even melted my dad's perpetually icy expression into a flicker of warmth. My dad patted my head and softened his voice. "Stop crying. We never said you weren't our daughter." What? After my parents explained everything, I finally understood what had happened. It turned out my mom had given birth to fraternal twins. But on the same day, due to a doctor's mistake, Mrs. Smith's baby was stillborn. The doctor couldn't afford to anger the Smith family. the richest family in town. So when he saw that our family had twins, he took my mom's son and pulled a switcheroo, passing him off as the Smith's baby. Then he told my parents, "Congratulations, you have a beautiful baby girl." It was full of holes. It made no sense. It was unbelievable. I had to ask my mom, "Did you guys not get any prenatal checkups?" My mom's eyes suddenly filled with tears as she looked up at the ceiling. My dad pulled out a cigarette, lit it, and took a long drag. He sighed and answered, "Your mom and I were dinks. If we'd known she was pregnant, we would have terminated. I guess you two must have sensed that. Not only did your mom have zero pregnancy symptoms, but she even faked a period every month to throw us off. By the time her stomach started hurting and we rushed her to the hospital, you two just popped out." Ethan and I were silent. Suddenly, a comment drifted by. "Okay, this is a total mess, but does anyone feel bad for our male lead? The guy is completely shattered." Male lead? I glanced at Ethan. Holy crap. If he's the male lead, that makes me the female lead. But we're biological siblings. I could only pray this was a story about family bonding. A deep, sibling love. I could probably live with that. The comments were relentless. The male lead wakes up to find the love of his life is his biological sister. His world is collapsing. Male lead's inner monologue, "I wanted my wife to call me brother, but I meant as a lover, not an actual brother. It's okay, this is all part of the journey." The female lead is destined to end up with the male lead. Enemies to lovers plus the taboo element? Aya, the author, is a genius. Love it. Write more. I need more. Oh my god. No way. Everyone knows that kind of thing is a major taboo. And the places that allow that kind of thing are also majorly taboo. Oh no, it's that kind of story. Good heavens. Is Ethan trying to destroy this family? I snuck a terrified, cautious glance at Ethan. He noticed. His beautiful dark eyes widened in shock. Sensing my fear, the gentle spring in his eyes shattered into a million pieces, like a broken galaxy. I didn't try to comfort him. Who knows where that could lead? I stood by my principle, better you than me. Ethan could deal with his own heartbreak. I started avoiding Ethan. No, wait, I guess I should call him Ethan Wilson now. The news that Ethan was my brother sent shockwaves through my friend group. They created a new group chat and started discussing it frantically. OMG, that doctor had some serious nerve, pulling a switcheroo and pissing off two of the richest families in town at once. Good thing the Smith family made sure that doctor and all the nurses involved are rotting in jail. Serves them right. But what I'm curious about now is what Ethan's thinking. What do you think he's thinking? He's probably losing his mind. He's not playing basketball, not logging into his games, he just locks himself in his room all day. He even bailed on the graduation trip to see the Northern Lights. You've got to be kidding. There's no way he'd go on that trip now. Why do you say that? Because Ella has always been the one who wanted to see the Northern Lights. Ethan was planning to take her to strengthen their bond. Ethan was so in love with Ella. After crushing on her for years, he finds out she's his biological sister. How could he possibly handle that? I feel so bad for Ethan. Amidst all the sympathy, I belatedly realized that some of Ethan's strange behavior in the past made perfect sense if he had a crush on me. Snatching the water bottle I'd just opened during a basketball game. Insisting on teaching me different ways to solve the hardest math and physics problems. Reporting the guys who wrote me love letters. There were too many instances to count. Back then, I just thought he was trying to provoke me. But none of that mattered now. The group chat was still buzzing. By the way, did Ethan confess to Ella? If he did and she said yes, it would be the real-life version of, "May all the world's lovers end up as siblings." Even if they were dating, they'd have to break up. A family like ours could never accept a forbidden love. I really wanted to curse out that pretentious asshole, but someone beat me to it. Mike, what the hell are you talking about? No normal family would accept it, period. Wait, who the F added Ella to this chat? Holy shit. Amidst a flurry of profanities, the brand new gossip group was disbanded. What a bummer. Now I couldn't see what else they were saying about me. I sighed in frustration. This wasn't about love or not anymore. The fact that Ethan was my brother was set in stone, and we had to live within the boundaries of social morality. Ethan should be able to figure that out. He could think about his romance. I'd think about my inheritance. I just hoped Ethan's love wouldn't turn to hate and make him fight too hard for it. I felt a 50-50 split was only fair. The evening breeze was hot and sticky tonight. The cicadas' chirping was disturbing my peace. I got up. I stood on the balcony, staring at the wall Ethan used to love climbing over, lost in thought for a long time. I don't know how much time passed before the door to the next balcony opened with a soft click. I turned my head and saw Ethan, who now lived in the room next to mine. He hadn't expected me to be on the balcony either and stared for a long moment before speaking. Why are you still awake? All the affection I had never noticed before was now swirling in his eyes. I felt like I had finally found the beginning of a tangled thread. Ethan's love for me was slowly being unraveled, right before my eyes. I could finally see it. But now, that love was laced with struggle. Ethan tried to hide it, but he couldn't. If I had to describe my feelings. Well, before, I rejected him because I'd never dated and couldn't handle a sudden confession. But now, this was a matter of moral judgment. Absolutely not. It would never be approved. I could only pretend to be sleepy and let out a yawn. About to head to bed. Good night. You should get some sleep too, bro. I turned and went back inside, lying down on my bed. There was no way I could sleep. Because the live comments started refreshing. Bro. One word, and our poor male lead's heart shattered into a million pieces. Loving someone you can't have is the most moving thing. All I can say is, the male lead has too high of a moral standard. Damn it, that's just basic morality, okay? But I didn't dare say anything, afraid of being discovered. I kept watching the comments. Please, female lead, look at our broken little puppy. He's going from a sunny, cheerful boy to a brooding, emo mess. Can't wait to fast forward to the forced love chapter. Forced love? Is that even allowed? Nope, I had to escape this terrifying family. Run, rabbit, run. Anywhere is better than here. I was planning my escape. Anywhere would do, as long as it wasn't home. If I kept appearing in front of Ethan, it would be hard for him to calm down. My mom was helping me pack while trying to persuade me. Your brother just got here. Shouldn't you spend some time with him, build your relationship? She had some nerve. If I actually did build that kind of relationship, she'd be the first to object. I couldn't help but think of the sadness in Ethan's eyes. Better to rip the band-aid off quickly. I whined, Mommy, I finally survived high school. I just want to go out and have some fun. Please let me go. My mom couldn't resist my pleading, but she was still determined to foster some sibling bonding between us. Why don't you take your brother with you? How was that any different from walking a lamb to the slaughter? I threw myself on the bed and started rolling around like a child. No, it's a girl's trip. It would be so awkward to bring a guy. The live comments appeared again. Wow, she's really going to turn our male lead into a gloomy ghost. The male lead is eavesdropping just outside the door. For a split second, he wanted to lock the female lead up and keep her by his side forever. Looks like the male lead is going to have to drink away his sorrows again. I felt both desperate and sympathetic. Desperate for my own situation, and soft-hearted toward his. I felt sorry for myself. And I felt sorry for Ethan. I could only hope he'd get over it on his own. After all, rules are rules. As I was getting ready to go out and buy supplies for my trip, I saw Ethan in the living room downstairs. He stood in the shadows, looking up at me without saying a word. Just watching me, silently. I don't know if it was Ethan's mood affecting me or the plot controlling me. But again, I couldn't fall asleep until the middle of the night. I decided to go downstairs for a drink. As I passed Ethan's room, a hand shot out and pulled me inside. The door closed and locked behind me. I was about to scream, but Ethan clamped his hand over my mouth. He smelled of alcohol, and he kept repeating the same thing. "Ella, don't be scared. I won't hurt you." Seeing that I had calmed down, Ethan swallowed hard and let go of my mouth. "Ella, I love you. I really, really love you. I want to be close to you, but I have to force myself to stay away. Ella, I'm going crazy. Tell me, please, just tell me, what am I supposed to do?" Ethan sank down amidst the mess on the floor. I heard the clinking of glass. Only then, in the dim light, did I see that his room was littered with countless empty liquor bottles. No wonder my mom was always telling me, "What happened to our family is so dramatic, it's normal that your brother can't accept it right away. But if he keeps this up, his body won't be able to take it. Ella, you two are the same age. When you have time, try to talk to him." I'd been so busy avoiding Ethan that I hadn't noticed. He was drinking himself to death. Ethan was now sitting sprawled on the floor, his head bowed, face buried in his hands. I could hear his muffled sobs. But I couldn't comfort him. Neither of us spoke. When words fail to express or soothe pain, only silence remains. A long time later, Ethan stood up. He pressed a black card into my palm. It was the gift my dad had given him on his first day back with the Wilson family. And just like that, he gave it to me. He sighed and said softly, "Ella, I'm sorry that my love has become a burden to you. But please, have some pity on me. Don't be afraid of me. I'll get myself together. You'll need money on your trip. Take this, as a gift from your brother." Ethan's voice tightened, and the veins on the hand holding the card bulged. He forced himself to speak again. "A gift from your brother." I don't really remember how I got out of that room. I only remember that my dreams that night were a bizarre mix of images. People crying, people laughing. The dream ended with a memory from my childhood. I used to see my mom bossing my dad around all the time. After my dad had to kneel on a keyboard one too many times for some mistake, I decided that if I married Ethan, I could be his master. So I ran up to him and asked, "Ethan, when we grow up, can I be your wife?" Ethan's face turned bright red, but he eventually nodded. A soft okay. And then it faded. I woke up with a start. So much for thinking about something all day and dreaming about it all night. I grabbed my phone to look up what my dream meant and saw a ton of missed calls from my bestie, Nina. 17 of them. It must be something important. I called her back. Nina's frantic voice came through the phone. "Ella, I have something incredibly important to tell you. I'm at your gate, come out now." It's a code red. If Nina wouldn't say it over the phone, she must have a good reason. I threw on a jacket, ignored Ethan's stare from the living room, and ran outside. Outside the villa. Nina looked like she'd caused some world-ending disaster, hesitating and unable to speak. I couldn't stand the suspense and pressed her, "What on earth happened?" Nina's hands clenched and unclenched. She struggled for so long I was about to lose my mind. Finally, she spoke in a trembling voice. "Let's go to your room to talk." Was this about me and Ethan? That would explain why she didn't want to talk about it in public and why she was so hesitant. We finally got to my room. Nina cautiously locked the door before pulling a paternity test report out of her bag and whispering, "Ella, you're not your dad's biological daughter." For a moment, my mind went completely blank. It felt like the universe was playing a massive joke on me. The live comments were flashing, and Nina was still talking. But it felt like the world was sealed off from my consciousness. I needed a minute to process this. Someone's fingers were waving in front of my face. Nina quickly noticed something was wrong with me and, panicking, started shaking my shoulders. Ella, don't scare me. If I'd known, I would have just kept it to myself forever. My senses slowly returned, and I grabbed Nina's hands. Stop shaking me. Just keep talking. After making sure I was okay, Nina continued. I know it's super unethical to run a paternity test on someone else's family. But the other day, when we heard about what happened at your house, and that Ethan was your mom's real son, I just thought it was so crazy. I figured if it was that crazy, maybe it could get even crazier. So, out of curiosity, I took a hair sample from you and your dad and sent them to my family's lab for an expedited test. My head was still spinning. I just listened to Nina's rambling without stopping her. Nina tapped the report she'd brought, hesitated for a minute, then decided not to hide anything anymore. I never expected it, but you're really not your dad's biological daughter. I looked it up, and it's actually possible for fraternal twins to have different fathers. I know your mom is a wonderful person. And I would never believe she'd cheat on your dad. But the world is a weird place. Accidents happen, you know? Like swimming, or sitting on something, or accidentally touching something, and maybe your biological father's little swimmers just found their chance. Ella, I'm not just making this up to comfort you. There are actual news stories about this. What kind of imagination was that? I think someone else needs to delete their novel app. Even the live comments were laughing. Are there any normal people left in this story? You don't get it. I usually don't read crazy stories. But one this crazy? I have to see how it turns out. I didn't believe Nina for a second. She was never reliable. I suspected she'd mixed up the samples. I even suspected she'd taken hair from my dog and cat and had them tested. But what if, for once, she was right? I opened my mouth to speak, but Nina cut me off. Ella, I know what you're going to say. But even if you're not your dad's biological daughter, having the same mom still makes it wrong. I was so mad I almost choked on my own breath. I thought I was going to die on the spot. But I survived, thanks to my powerful main character plot armor. Ignoring the comments, which were laughing so hard they were making my eyes hurt, I smacked Nina on the back of the head. God damn it. Did it ever occur to you to run a paternity test between me and my mom? Nina rubbed her head and whimpered. The comments giggled. Stop hitting her. Our poor side character is already dumb enough. You'll make her dumber. The comments still weren't offering any useful information. But the report Nina brought sent me into a new spiral of self-doubt. In my roller coaster of a life. In this fog-shrouded mystery of my identity. Forget Ethan for a minute. All I wanted to know was, who the hell am I? I've never seen such a tight-lipped audience. It's like they all signed an NDA promising not to spoil major plot points. This was truly the worst batch of commenters I'd ever had. To get to the bottom of things, I sent hair samples from my parents and myself to multiple labs. I even canceled my vacation plans for this. Even after paying for expedited service. The wait was agonizing. I never expected my SAT scores and the test results to come out on the same day. I had just seen the message on the computer that my score and rank are hidden, meaning they were extremely high. I was sharing the happy news with my parents. The next second, Nina burst into our house, waving the lab reports. Nina didn't even check her own SAT scores, she was busy checking the DNA results. That's true loyalty. You guys don't know? Our girl Nina was born with unshakable loyalty tattooed on her back. Legend has it that the three musketeers swore their oath to Nina. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was going to fly out of my chest. Nina rushed through the sea of comments, screaming. Ella, the results are in. You're not your parents' biological daughter. Ethan, emerging from his dark room with a scruffy beard. Ha 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 ha, that was my exact expression when I first read this part. This is so chaotic, my head is spinning. I was so scared. For a second, I was worried this mainstream site actually had a real incest plot and was about to get taken down. So much for the forbidden love storyline, huh? Doesn't pseudo-incest count? Spits. What the hell? This twist? This plot twist is so wild you just have to respect it. So you're telling me the Wilsons had 2 biological kids and didn't end up raising either of them? Seeing the newbies have this reaction is so satisfying. Finally, it's your turn. I had to respect it, too. Soon, the reports from the other labs started arriving. I sat between my mom and dad, looking through them one by one. Every single report stated clearly, I was not my parents' biological daughter. Well, now I was officially the fake heiress. I shouldn't have been so quick to dismiss the Smith family. Mrs. Smith might be strict, but at least they were the richest family in town. Now, I had no idea who my real parents were. Were they mistreating the real Wilson family daughter? When the real daughter came home, where would I go? My composure completely shattered. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. My mom's hand trembled as she pushed the reports aside and patted my hand reassuringly. Don't overthink it. I've raised you for so many years, I'm not going to abandon you. If we can find our real daughter, we'll bring her home and raise you both together. My dad nodded in agreement. The medical staff involved in the incident were all in prison, and the parts of the truth they'd hidden required further interrogation and investigation. My parents and I were all waiting for the results. But as we all know, one person's sorrow is another's joy. The tables had completely turned. Now it was Ethan's turn to be happy. Suddenly, Ethan stopped drinking, stopped listening to his sad Spotify playlists, stopped being emo, and stopped sneaking out for street races. He shaved his beard, returning to his usual handsome self. Then he changed into workout clothes and started parading around in front of me. Locking my door was useless. The jerk could climb walls and balconies. Ethan pushed open my balcony door again and tried to console me. Ella, don't be sad. If you marry me, we can still be a family. I lay on my bed and pointed out, your ulterior motive is so obvious it might as well be tattooed on your forehead. Ethan wasn't even embarrassed. He sat right down on the edge of my bed. I know a lot has happened recently, and everyone's confused. But Ella, I've always loved you. That's never changed. I nodded to show him I knew. Okay, you can get lost now. Ethan tried to crawl under my covers, but I kicked him onto the floor. The male lead is finally getting rewarded for his good behavior. Is everyone really that, messed up? The comments continued. In the last chapter, the male lead was so miserable. Now that he's found out he can keep loving his precious wife, he's overjoyed. Of course he is. The day he found out the female lead wasn't his real sister, he hugged the little clown teddy bear she gave him as a kid and repeated, "Thank God it was a false alarm," over and over. Ugh, they're so cute together. Ethan got up and moved closer. I wanted to slap him, but I was afraid he'd lick my hand. I'd almost forgotten, Ethan's SAT scores were also hidden. When the admissions officers from Harvard and Yale came to visit, Ethan had only one request. I want to go to the same school as Ella. I reminded him, people should think for themselves. Ethan replied, I don't need to think for myself. I just need my precious treasure back. My mom gave a polite but awkward smile, then threw Ethan out of the house. This is too much. No, Mom needs a minute to process this. Ha ha ha, you've got to hand it to the male lead, even his own mom can't stand him. We can't slow down this amazing plot. Time to drop another bomb on our poor mom, who's going to have the ultimate glow-up later. At that moment, I knew. They must have found something. Sure enough, the police arrived soon after and told us the truth of what happened back then. After the medical staff swapped Ethan with the Smith family's baby, they realized something. The Smiths and the Wilsons were both wealthy families in the city, and they were also good friends and neighbors. Fraternal twins often look very similar, so the truth was bound to come out eventually. Coincidentally, there was another woman from out of town who gave birth at that same private hospital on the same day. So, the staff decided to go all in. They swapped my mom's biological daughter with the other woman's daughter, me, as well. Since all three families had O-type blood, they figured no one would ever find out, unless something unexpected happened. This secret could have been kept forever. But before Mrs. Smith married Mr. Smith, she had a first love. Her first love secretly met with her once, and Mr. Smith found out. Urged on by his buddies, Mr. Smith got a paternity test. He found out his eldest son wasn't his. Mr. Smith demanded a divorce. Mrs. Smith knew she'd never been with her first love, so she knew something was wrong. She also got a paternity test. That's when she discovered her eldest son wasn't even her biological child. And so, the chaos began. Besides the truth, the police also brought news of my birth mother. The police told my parents, the other victim from that day is currently living abroad with your biological daughter. We've already contacted her. She and your daughter will be flying back tomorrow afternoon at 5. What kind of person would my real mom be? I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't sleep that night. And of course, Ethan snuck into my room again. As he opened the door, a summer breeze swept in. The air, fresh after the rain, carried the scent of grass. It mixed with the minty smell of Ethan's body wash. He held up a bottle of wine. I know you're having a hard time. I came to have a drink with you. That's our boy. Ever since the male lead found out the female lead isn't his real sister, he's completely let himself go. The male lead feels bad for the female lead, but he's also happy he has a chance now. This emotional tug of war is exactly what I love to see. I looked at him, and he looked back at me. It's just fruit wine. Low alcohol content. It'll help you sleep. That sounded pretty good. I didn't say no. The fruit wine was actually really nice. Sweet. One more glass should be fine, right? The fruity flavor exploded in my mouth over and over again. After the last glass. Okay, I admit it, I was talking nonsense earlier. This stuff gets you drunk. My head started to feel fuzzy. I went out to the balcony for some air, but the breeze only made me dizzier. I was suddenly curious, so I asked Ethan directly. Why do you like me? Ethan stood beside me. The wind blew my hair, tangling it with his. His voice was soft in the wind, but I heard him clearly. Does there always have to be a why? I was still curious. But I want to know. Why do you like me so much that you can't even control it? You're usually such a rational person, you big idiot. The comments answered first. The female lead is the pot calling the kettle black. She's the one who's completely oblivious. The male lead dropped so many hints in high school, but it was like talking to a brick wall. Is that true? Ethan ruffled my hair and gave his answer. Maybe it's because you said you'd marry me when we were kids. Back then, I thought, this adorable little girl is entrusting her whole life to me. I have to be responsible for her. Here we go again. This sappy stuff was giving me goosebumps. My head felt even dizzier. I stumbled back to bed and lay down, muttering to myself. I'm so sleepy. Whatever happens tomorrow, I have to sleep today. Good night, world. In my hazy state, I felt someone helping me rinse my mouth. Then they wiped my face and washed my feet. A soft kiss on my cheek. The world was answering me. Good night. The flight from the US was delayed due to a storm in a connecting city. My whole family waited anxiously at the airport. Ethan kept trying to comfort us. It's okay. If she's been in the States, your sister should be doing fine. I hoped so. Otherwise, my conscience would eat me alive. When they finally arrived, they were ridiculously easy to spot. One was a mature version of me. The other was a female version of Ethan. They clearly thought the same thing when they saw us. There was none of the emotional, dramatic reunion I had imagined. The atmosphere was just awkwardly silent. I looked at my birth mother. My mom, my adoptive mom, I guess, looked at her biological daughter. The first thing we both said was, "Hi." After exchanging gifts, we all tried to ease the tension by making small talk about the obvious. My birth mom remarked, "I always wondered how a 5 feet 3 inches woman like me could have a 5 feet 10 inches daughter. Turns out she was switched at birth." I noticed that my birth mom and I were the shortest people there. I wanted to cry. Why must I bear such a heavy burden at such a young age? But I had to admit, everyone was handling this surprisingly well. With the help of the police, we spent half the day getting to know each other. I learned that my birth mother's name is Linda, and the girl I was swapped with is named Lucy. My birth mom is a highly educated single mother, an associate professor at a prestigious university abroad. Influenced by her mom, Lucy loves scientific research and was planning to enroll at the same university. Meanwhile, the Wilson family is one of the top 3 wealthiest families in our city, and I got into an Ivy League school. For a moment, it was hard to say who got the better deal. Both situations were good. No one really lost out. But the kids still had to be switched back. Lucy's name was changed to Lucy Wilson. My name was no longer Ella Wilson, it was Ella Lou. The happiest person in the room was, without a doubt, Ethan. He followed me around like a puppy, so much so that my corgi, unable to get near me, was sulking in a corner. I never knew Ethan could be so talkative. "Ella, your name is so beautiful. It reminds me of the poem, 'The dew is white from this night on the moon' is the same as in my hometown." "Ella, did you know?" The comments chimed in. The male lead isn't even trying to hide it anymore. He's practically got, "I want to stick to my wife," written all over his face. You can't blame him. Our girl is just that cute. Even Lucy quietly asked me, "Are you and Ethan into that pseudo-incest thing?" I'm super curious, how did you two interact after he was recognized as your brother but before I came back? My mouth, quick, say something. No, it's just a one-sided crush on his part. Lucy wagged her finger at me. Nope. Ethan definitely likes you more, but you're enabling him. You're indulging his affection, letting him get close. Babe, there's definitely something going on with you too. I panicked and ran away. What could possibly be going on? It's all because I'm too soft-hearted. I just can't bear to see that big idiot get sad when I reject him. That's all. My alt account was added to another group chat called Project Win Ella's Heart. Nina sent me a private message. Stay quiet. The comments praised her. Nina is the most loyal friend. It's always her. Everyone in the group was congratulating Ethan. Ethan, man, your love life has been a real roller coaster. Just when you thought you were lost, you found a new path. Ethan, cut the crap. How do I actually win Ella over? Does anyone have any real advice? Money. Ethan, I already gave her my black card. Spend time with her. Ethan, she even locks her balcony door now. Just be direct. Ethan, you think I haven't tried that? After 300 useless suggestions from the other rich kids, Ethan sighed. What's the point of any of you? He disbanded the group chat. The next second, my main account got a message from Ethan. Ella, I got 2 front row tickets to the Taylor Swift concert. When it came to this, all my reservations vanished. I didn't care about the awkwardness or the complicated feelings. My heart was screaming yes. I replied instantly, I'm in. The front row seats were incredible. It felt like I was sitting in Taylor Swift's lap. My youth. My childhood. I would continue on with my life, but I'd never again feel the thrill of being 18 and seeing my idol. Ethan didn't try to confess his feelings. He just wiped away my tears. But all concerts must come to an end. After the excitement, a huge sense of emptiness set in. I sat in the car and looked at Ethan beside me. Sharp features, handsome face. The city lights and the stars twinkled in his eyes. He wasn't so bad, I guess. Girls, what do I do? I think I'm about to fall. Ethan noticed me staring and turned his head. Why are you looking at me like that? Are you so captivated by my charm that you've decided to accept me? And just like that, the pink bubble popped. Someone, please shut him up. Even after choosing our colleges, the rest of the summer stretched out long before us. My birth mom and Lucy planned to spend the rest of the summer here. The two families agreed that since the kids were grown, they could choose their own paths. They just needed to visit each other often. No one had any objections. It was fair now. All three of us kids had two moms. Why not two dads? Because I don't know who my biological father is. Neither does Lucy. No big deal. Ethan was still researching his 108 ways to win a girl's heart. The comments were full of terrible advice. Forced love. Kidnapping plot. Thank goodness Ethan couldn't see them. But that didn't stop the comments. Actually, the female lead has been through so much, she's just too embarrassed to admit she likes the male lead. You don't get it. Our girl is the type who overthinks everything. Is that so? I feel like they're trying to mess with my head. But, I guess I really don't mind Ethan being close to me. Whatever. I'll just go with the flow. Being with Ethan wouldn't be so bad. Time flies when you're having fun. My birth mom and my mom had become as close as sisters, and now it was time for them to part. They hugged each other, crying their eyes out. Linda is finally leaving. You have no idea how hard Mr. Wilson is trying not to smile. He's celebrating the fact that he can finally sleep with his dear wife again. After all, he chose to be a dink because he was afraid kids would disturb his time with his wife. This whole family is full of hopeless romantics. My birth mom and Lucy kept looking back as they went through security at the airport. My mom and I went home, feeling dejected. When we got there, we found Ethan happily packing his bags. Ella likes to eat this, I'll pack some. Ella will need this, I'll pack some. The only person happier than Mr. Wilson right now is probably the male lead. No kidding. He gets to go to college with the female lead. This is the perfect time to make his move. Male lead's inner monologue, I'm going to move my wife with my devotion until she falls for me. Suddenly, my parents both got calls, claimed there was an emergency at the company, and left. Leaving me and Ethan alone. Ethan noticed I was back. He started wringing his hands, looking a little helpless. Might as well take advantage of it. I ordered him around like a queen, go pack my bags. Given a task, Ethan happily scurried off to work. This life wasn't so bad. You know what? I might as well just say yes. Better than letting him resort to forced love. The live comments gradually disappeared from my life. And Ethan and I dated for all 4 years of college. I was completely and utterly devoured. I was not happy about it. After graduation, whenever Ethan wanted to get intimate again, I'd kick him out of bed. Get lost. No more. This time, Ethan looked just as pitiful as always, but then my birth mom called. Honey, great news. Your scumbag dad, the richest man in North River City with a low sperm count, suddenly dropped dead last night. You're his only biological daughter. I bought you a ticket for tomorrow. Pack your bags and come back to North River City to take your throne. Huh? Another identity switch. While I was still reeling from the news, Ethan reacted first, leaning in close. Excuse me, future richest woman in North River City, are you in need of a high-quality man to marry into your family? Highly educated, strong body, excellent hardware, long-lasting, and first-class service. Before I could answer, he pounced. We didn't stop until it was dark.